Hello guys, and I hope mko fiti and everything is okay on your end. Yeah, otherwise it's been a long time since ni pitia hizi revision questions za SIDAC za different units. Yeah, but leo nitapitia the apply entrepreneurial skills, that is July August 2024. Taanza na swali ya kwanza, kwa inasema state 4 characteristics of an appropriate technology. So hizi types of questions tunazitanga application based questions. That is, you have to apply what is currently being used in the world to achieve a certain target. Ukiangalia like technology, it has been used to achieve almost different fields of occupations currently. Sababu inaweza apply in entrepreneurship in terms of marketing na digital e-commerce. Inaweza apply in engineering in terms of innovations. Inaweza apply pia kwa ICT kufacilitate faster communications. Is apply in almost every field. Kuna some technology inakuwa involved. Even in agriculture, kuna technologies zimekuwa implemented to support agricultural systems. So hapo alikuuliza swali ya state 4 characteristics of an appropriate technology. So ilikuwa inamaanisha you had to zero down to almost every field unajua about technology. So ya kwanza ni affordable. It should be cost effective and within the financial reach of the target users. That's why wanatumia an example of data bundles. Subscribe for any data bundle, it will give you options depending on the level of your purchasing power. So kuna ule mwenye atago for daily, kuna mwenye atago for weekly, kuna mwenye atago for monthly. So it should be affordable, that is, it should be able to satisfy both zile different modes ama different gaps in the economy. So kuna wale low class na bado kuna high class. So lazima that technology you're able to enjoy the benefits of that technology with what they have. Then kuna simple and easy to use. The technology should be user friendly, requiring minimal technical skills for operation and maintenance. So unapata like examples of WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook. Those are kinds of I can say marketing tools ama the technology that is user friendly. Sababu hakukuwa na training that was conducted on how to use WhatsApp or on how to use Facebook or Instagram. It was user based. Just someone opens an account and she or he is able to access the services that is run across the internet. Then locally available materials. It should use materials that are easily accessible within the local environment to reduce costs and dependence on external sources. So utapata like now this one may narrow down to a specific target group. So come up with that appropriate technology, you should be able to use only the locally available materials. Itakusaidia save on the amount of money which will be high and ungetumia spend on an external maybe shipping service ama import duty. Then energy efficient, it should consume minimal energy or use renewable energy sources to ensure sustainability. Most of these tech firms zinakuja na some backup sources of battery. Angalia kama the UPS. Kuja angalia pia the solar system. So these are some kinds of renewable sources of energy that are free or easily pia. So you have to use a technology that is also energy efficient. I consume a lot of energy because at the end of the day it incur some costs in terms of billing. Then kuna environmental friendly. The technology should have minimal negative impacts on the environment, such as reducing waste and pollution. So that technology also should not be so strong in such a way that it cause pollution. If it's involving technology and involve the use of rays, you have to ensure that those rays zinakuwa released ama zinakuwa emitted at an environment yenye iko least accessible by people, because una protect those people from maybe exposure to the cancer ama the cancerous diseases. Then culturally acceptable, it should align with the beliefs, traditions and social practices of the community to ensure acceptance and proper use. So unapatanga mostly if you look at these different types of contents used, utapata iko na some age restrictions. So inamaanisha that the people are able to access that information are limited by age. And we have some countries like the Lebanon countries and the Muslim countries wanakuanga very strict on matters culture. So lazima come up with a technology that ina fit with the culture of those people. So that's why unapatanga most of these sites, there are some sites that cannot be accessed in some certain countries. There are some services you cannot access, but in a different country you can access. So that means that the people from that country may limit the type of technology that is used. Maybe wanaangalia it is not user friendly and it does not maybe go in hand with their cultural norms. Then kuna easily maintainable, the technology should be durable and easy to repair with locally available tools and expertise. Then enhances productivity, should improve efficiency, increase output, or simplify work processes without requiring excessive effort or resources. Then scalable and adaptable, the technology should be flexible enough to be modified or expanded depending on the changing needs of the humans. So after my establish a technology, lazima ukuwe in a position to look at also the bigger picture or a future. So tulisema if you are involved in a business, una those three sets of goals: the long term, short term, and the medium term goal. So if you are maybe envying or visualizing on coming up with a long term project, then it means if you started with a kiosk, you would move to maybe a shop, or you come to a retail, wholesale, then a supermarket or a hypermarket. Then inamaanisha the type of technology that you'll be using when you are at a kiosk state, ama wakati ulikuwa una run the kiosk, will not be the same as the technology that you'll use once your business has grown to maybe a supermarket. So that means that the technology that you are using initially should be able to be flexible and adaptable in such a way that as you expand the business, also the technology can be able to be expanded based on the foundation and based on the needs, on the changing needs of the business. So that's how to give characteristics of an appropriate technology. You can just say it should be cost effective, should be simple and easy to use, it should be able to use locally available materials, it should be able to consume less energy in terms of its operations, and the technology should be user friendly in such a way that it minimizes environmental impact. Then the technology should be able to be accepted culturally by the different people of a region or a state. The technology should be able to be easily maintained, and it should be able to be flexible with respect to expansion in future. So that is just how we state the characteristics of an appropriate technology. Make sure that we make the points to be very complete, such that no hanging statements. Kukiwa na hanging statements, then you leave the examiner with no option but to deny your mark. Yeah. So to move to the next question, identify 3 business growth strategies of a small scale business. So ukiangalia the business growth strategies inakuja from the topic 1 yenye tulipitia entrepreneurial skills, ambapo tuliangalia kulikuwa na the market strategies. So this one ni an application also based question. Unafaa reason from the 3 market strategies we learn. So the keywords hapa ni growth strategies. A strategy is like a plan of how you intend to maybe enter into a market or maybe run the business or start a business. So the first is market penetration. It increases sales of existing products or services to current customers through promotions, discount, or improved customer service. And I said, if you remember well, pale kwa during the time of our course notes, pale kwa topic tulitumia an example of supermarkets. So before a supermarket penetrates into a certain market or a certain region, they will come with so many offers into that region. So that is just a way of luring most of the customers to Tunawalua wakuje wakuwe convinced to come and buy products from our supermarket, because wakati imeenda kufungua that branch into that region, kuna other existing supermarkets in exist pale, so they have to use that offers and discount. And I use an example of Naivas. Every time Naivas in open a branch, they always have so many discounts at that place, and that's why unapata it will be really flooded at the first. That's one way, market penetration. Then you have market expansion as another growth strategy, because a growth strategy now unaangalia now making the business to expand or grow into maybe a bigger supermarket, a bigger business enterprise as the initial one. Then kuna expanding into new geographical areas or targeting new customer segments to increase the customer base. If you are a business owner now, concentrate on a certain region as one of your growth strategy, you'll decide to now expand, start moving to the outside regions. And moving to the outside regions means you will be targeting new customers. So for you to target those new customers, itabidi you go do research, go see what they buy most, what is their most maybe bargaining power. Then we have product development, introducing new or improved products and services to attract existing and new customers. Product development inaweza kuja as a result of customer feedback, and I told you, if you remember the time tulikuwa naangalia sources of business ideas, tuliangalia customer feedback as a source of business idea. So you can be having an existing business, and through customer feedbacks, and I told you of I used the example of apps. Apps zinakuanga na reviews. There is a review. Once someone has downloaded the app, used the app, has got that experience of the app, atakuja andike a review. How was the app? Wengine atasema too bad, it hangs. So that ule developer wa app akikuja apitie all those reviews, atakuwa able to modify on the mistakes that are being done by the app, raised by the customer, and improve a new version of the app the next time and I upload to the Play Store. So the same case to the business. You can be selling a product, and into that product you can write maybe a small note on the customers to give their feedback after they have used that product. What is their feedback? So with that you can be able to develop that product, that is be creative and at the same time be innovative. I used those two words because creative, I said, it comes from existing products or existing ideas in the market. Innovative comes from a very unique skill that has not been introduced into the market. That is, you are innovative. Then you have diversification, expanding into new markets with different products or services to reduce business risks and increase revenue streams. So to diversify inamaanisha you are involved in various ways of business, services or products. So that one, if you diverse your products, you can be able to reach a group of potential customers over a short period of time, and at the same time you can be able to make maximum sales rather than specializing on a single line of products, because your main aim as a business person is to make sure that each of the customers, each of the clients that you serve within that geographical region gets to enjoy the benefits of the services you're offering. So nikatumia an example of if a customer comes into a shop and asks for a certain product and it is not there, he will go to another shop, and if he finds it there, then it means every time product yake atakuwa anaitafuta, he will not be coming into your shop. So you always have to identify all those vulnerabilities. Wakati atakuja kutafuta that product, the next time make sure that your product is in your store and you're able to, when another person comes, he is able to get that service, because that is your main aim as a business person, to diversify. Then you have digital marketing, using social media, websites and online advertising to reach a larger audience and attract more customers. So digital marketing is the most common way people are using, or different businesses are using to market their products. If you enter online through various social media channels, you'll find that most businesses are posting their products there. They can be able to receive an order, they can be able to do deliveries and so many services during, on the social media. So it means that if you're aspiring to grow into a business, then you'll have to employ these digital marketing forms. Then you have customer retention, building strong relationships with customers through loyalty programs, excellent services, and personalized offers. For customer retention, if you remember very well, I also used an example of a supermarket that I said, utapata these supermarkets wanatumianga loyalty cards or loyalty points, examples like Naivas, Quickmart, and everything. If you buy a product, you're given some points. There's a time when utapata someone can go shop using those points. So that one is just to mean that that supermarket is trying to retain you as a customer, or is just trying to thank you for being their most loyal customer. You might find that at some point during the holidays, they always give vouchers. So the person who has shopped the most is awarded a voucher. That is just also a way of retaining that customer and also motivating that customer to say thank you for at least shopping with us, or for at least being a good business client with us. So that is also another way. Then we have strategic partnerships, collaborating with other businesses to share resources, expand market reach, and improve offerings. So you have to ensure that if you want to aspire to grow, most of these businesses nakuanga either merged ama zitakuwa na some partners, because at some point you might have insufficient capital to maybe do or finance some certain operations. If you had entered into a partnership with people, then it means that during those difficult times, because partners always come during those difficult times when your business is trying to crumble, that is when they can be able to resurrect your business in terms of funding the finances. Then, so that is the way in which hizo ndio maswali ama majibu, the response that it was expected. A business growth strategy. So you have to look at a plan that can enable a certain business to grow. It can grow from one form to another form. So what are some of those plans that you'll use to make sure that it grows? Then next, to the next question. So mention 4 regulations that are likely to impose on to imply on business operations. So this comes from our last topic, tuliangalia about county/regional business expansion. Remember, tuliangalia the capital base expansion, that is expanding your business in terms of capital wise. Then after tumeangalia that, tukakuja tukaangalia on the county/regional business expansion. So this question came from that topic, whereby now they were trying to make you understand, now that you have expanded your business in terms of capital, you have enough capital to run a business. So if you have that enough capital, inamaanisha you can be able to expand your business to be in certain geographical regions. So for our case, I used an example of our case, Kenya. We are devolved. That is, we are using counties. So you find that the county laws of Nairobi cannot be the same as the county laws of your local county region. So you have to make sure that if I'm establishing a business in Nairobi and I'm also establishing another business in your home county, then there are 2 distinct rules or regulations that I'll be following. So I must be able to understand all those regulations. And I must also ensure that hizo rules abide. My business abide or is abiding with the regulations that zimekuwa laid upon by those counties. So the one was business registration and licensing. So compliance with the legal requirements for business permits and licenses to operate legally. So you have to ensure that your business first is registered, because clients will opt for businesses that are legit, which are registered by the government and they are licensed. So that is one of the regulations I have to ensure. That is that. Then you have taxation laws, adhering to tax, income tax, value-added tax, and other tax obligations imposed by the government. So you must make sure that for our case, we use Kenya Revenue Authority. Your business is always up to date in terms of remitting tax. Because if you cannot do that, then your business can be closed. You have seen in many cases news online or in newspapers, business being closed because they have accumulated their tax in such a way that the KRA now is demanding to shut them down. So That is also another regulation inafaa observe. I must ensure that I am always tax compliant, because for our case utapata if you file the tax early, or you are always filing the tax early, then it means you'll be given that tax compliance certificate to show that you are abiding, you are sticking to the rules as required by the tax laws. Then you have the employment and labor laws, following regulations on wages, working hours, employee benefits, and workplace safety. And I use an example of the minimum wage bill. Every time utasikia the government's emphasizing on the minimum wage bill a person should be paid after doing a service, or the minimum hours a shift should have to occur. So mostly we always talk of 8 hours. That's why you find some people will enter the office at 8 and leave at maybe 4 or 5. So that is in line with the labor laws and employment. So as you also open your business, and that we are looking at a business expanding, so you'll be employing people. So it means that you have to also observe on the employment or labor laws in terms of their working shifts, and also in terms of their minimum salaries or minimum wage bill. That is as per the contract they have signed, of course. Then you have the health and safety regulations, ensuring a safe working environment for employees and customers as required by occupational health and laws. So that is also another requirement, because that's why we always study occupational health and safety. At some point you'll come to own a business, or you'll come to own a farm. So you'll have to ensure that all my employees are working in a safe and working environment. With that, they can be able to increase productivity, there will be no absenteeism, and all your services will be top notch. Then you have consumer protection laws, adhering to fair trade practices, product quality standards, and transparency pricing to protect customers. And I used an example of if you go to look at the manufacturers, maybe any product that is sold in the market, pale chini utapata imeandika a set of ingredients used. Maybe if it's proteins, this quantity, if it's vitamins, this quantity. That is also a requirement to show to the audience, or to show to your consumers, what is being used to make that product, such that in any case, if that product becomes harmful to people, then you have always seen Kenya Bureau of Standards, the KEBS, coming and closing down most manufacturing, some industries, because they are not abiding to, maybe they are selling harmful products to the consumers. That is the reason. Maybe they have written it there, but in terms of mixing all those quantities, one ends up to overlap another, and if a consumer takes that product, it ends up maybe having some adverse effects. So also you as a business person, you have to ensure that whatever I'm producing, it is consumer friendly. It can be able to be taken by someone and without any harmful effects. Then you have the environmental regulation. That is where the National Environmental Management Authority comes in, and which is an aspect of environmental literacy. As a business, you have to develop clean ways in which you dispose your waste, clean ways in which you manage your waste inside that business premise. So if you are running a hotel industry, we don't expect you to be throwing a dirt everywhere. At least have a place where the dirt can be accumulated and can be collected by the relevant authorities, then it can be disposed. With that is also another regulation. Then you have data protection and privacy laws, following guidelines on the collection, storage, and use of customer and employee data. I always say, and I always talk of an example of a bank. That's where the data protection and privacy laws comes in. The bank should not be able to disclose an account holder's information to the public without their knowledge, because they will be violating their privacy. That is their data protection and privacy. Then you have industry-specific regulations, meeting compliance standards specific to the industry, such as food safety laws, construction codes, or financial obligations. Then import and export regulations, abiding by custom laws, tariffs, and trade restrictions involves the international market. So suppose your business is now growing overboard to now going to international. Then it means you have to understand the international laws that govern businesses. You also have to also understand on the taxation of products that is internationally. So those are some of the regulations that are likely to impact a business operation for you to start any business, because all of these, as you have seen, all of these regulations, they always come at at a cost. It's not free of charge. So it means that you have to bear those costs in order to make you succeed. So on to the next question. That is question 5. As an entrepreneur, list 4 ways that can be used. It's used for open relationship with employees, having that open relationship with employees, to create a good relationship with employees. So number 1 is open communication, encourage transparency and active dialogue. Then number 2 is recognition and appreciation, acknowledge and reward employees' effort. Then you have professional development, provide training and career growth. Trust and empowerment, delegate responsibilities and allow autonomy. Team building activities, fair compensation and benefits, work-life balance, active listening, supportive work environment, lead by an example. So as an entrepreneur, it means that you recall the definition of an entrepreneur, a person who scans a business environment, identify the business opportunity, and evolve the factors of production in order to make that business opportunity viable. So that is an entrepreneur. So you're looking at now, you have already established that business. So what are some of the ways in which you can use to create that good relationship with your employees? So you are like an employer. So one of them is foster open communication. You can foster open communication through different ways. You can use complaint box or suggestion boxes. If someone has a complaint, drop them on the suggestion box. And you as a management can come collect those suggestions, go see what they have, modify on what is modifiable, and adjust them. Then recognition and appreciation. You can offer rewards to the most hardworking employee within your organization. With that, at least it gives them a motivation, and it motivates others to also work hard to achieve those rewards. Then you have professional development opportunities. If there's an extra skill that you see your employees do not have, you can have that training by taking some of them to a training service. You always see that even in our schools or in the institution. You've seen some people training there. So it means that it's a good skill the employer has seen that can benefit them. Then you have trust and empowerment. Trust and empowerment is do not micromanage your employees. To micromanage, if you remember the last time nilisema, usikuwe like you are the boss, you are the finance, you are everything. If you have that opportunity to be the manager, then delegate. Delegate means answer to assign duties. Say you will be managing finances, you will be managing my procurement, you will be managing the sales, you will be managing the public relations, you will be managing social media, such that in case there is a trouble in the social media, the one who is responsible is the social media manager. That one, it puts every person in account of the mistakes that are being done in the business. If there is trouble in the finance, you'll also go to the people finance. Those are the people who are accountable. That is how trust and empowerment is meant. Do not micromanage the employees in such a way that you are doing all the activities that could have been just done by different people within a very short period of time and in a very smart way. Then you have team building activities. You've seen most organizations, the managers come up with a team building event whereby they take their employees to some place to just go and have some great time and also to maybe interact, just to adjust them from the normal work life. Then we have work-life balance, support flexible work arrangements. And I said, for work-life balance is you as an employer or as an entrepreneur, introduce some shifts, whereby if a certain group works for this morning shift, then there's a certain group that will enter in the mid shift. That is, if you are running a supermarket or a hotel, do not make your employees to run from us in the morning till evening. So it makes them have fatigue and they will not have a good work-life balance. They cannot balance the social life at the same time balance with the work life, because they will always just be thinking of work every time and then. They go sleep late, they wake up very early, come to work, which is not a very good and a hygienic way of handling workers or employees. Then you have active listening. Active listening during meetings. You as an employer, have a notebook Listen to what they say, listen to the suggestions, write them down, go see what is adjustable, and give them a feedback. Then supportive work environment. Supportive work environment is make sure that your all employees are given a good working environment, whereby if they work in a certain place, they cannot be affected by the adverse effects of climate or the weather changes. They cannot be feel fatigued if it's the seats, the stationery they are using. It should be comfortable. Then it means that you feel the need and you feel the importance of them having that good environment. They lead by an example. Always demonstrate the core values of leadership, which are maybe integrity, respect, and professionalism. So those are some of the ways that you can make as an entrepreneur to build that relationship with the employees. Yeah. So it was also another application-based question, which was not so hard to answer. Then you have Mark has graduated from college and has a business which requires financing. Name three sources of business. Name three sources of finance that he could use to start the business. So this is also another application-based question, whereby now that you have learned the knowledge of entrepreneurship, you know how to start a business, you know how to operate a business, you know how to expand the business, and finally you know the regulations and the rules that run a business both internally and at the same time externally. So if you already started the business, what are some of the sources of finance and you do not have enough capital? And I always say that you cannot lack the capital totally. You can have the capital, but it's not sufficient. So for this case, maybe Mark has some little capital, but the business he intends to start, maybe it requires an extra cash. So what will he do as a person? So that's the question that was asked. So one, he can use the personal savings, use his own money to finance the business. So you might find that maybe he was doing some savings during his entire study. During his entire study, he was maybe doing some savings. After he finished school, he discovered that the savings, if they were good and they were in a good amount to start, he can start the business. If it's not enough, then he can use family and friends. He can borrow from families and friends, because we always say that family is the closest friend we can have, maybe, because family can be able to support you at any time. So you can go to the family, that is from family and friends, and if he has a good inner circle of friends, then they can be able to help him with some finances. Then you have a bank loan. So you can go apply for a business loan in the bank. That is, if he has some personal savings, then it means he uses it with a specific bank. So you can approach that bank and say, I have this business opportunity that I intend to start. Maybe give a proposal and apply a loan using that. So that can be another source of a business of the finance. Then next we have microfinance institutions. So seeking small business loans from microfinance institutions. The microfinance organizations, if you remember very well, I said these are like SACCOs, savings and credits organizations, SACCOs. If you go to a SACCO, if he joins in one of the SACCOs, he can be able to get some loan. Then you have government grants and loans. We always have some grants from the government, whereby the government can support some good business ideas that have been come into practice, and they can offer some services or some grants. If he applies for those grants and he gets successful, then it means the finance will be very easily accessible and he can be financed by the business. The business can be financed what he intends to start. You have angel investors. So attracting investors will provide capital in exchange for equity or returns. There might be just a rich person who might have seen that idea and he might assist in establishing. We always call them like scholars or sponsors. Then we have venture capital, seeking funding from firms that invest in high growth startups. You can approach a firm, maybe a technological firm, if depending on what your business aims to achieve, then they can fund your business. We have business incubators and accelerators, joining programs that offer funding, mentorship, and support. These are like non-government organizations, the NGOs. And crowdfunding, raising small amounts of money from multiple people via online platforms. Currently, we always seen the most common one is the WhatsApp groups. People forming WhatsApp groups and they start some small contributions in there. So that one can be a crowdfunding, because we shifted from that ancient method of creating a pro forma, then you go working as you ask for funds. And you have trade credit, getting goods or services on credit from suppliers to reduce initial cash needs. So this one can work efficiently if it's already existing in business. But if it's starting the business, then you cannot go get a good on credit, because there will be some benefit of doubt. How will you repay this amount of money? So this trade credit will apply if already the business has been established. So those are some of the sources of finance that Mark can achieve or Mark can acquire for him to start the business. So if you look at this set of questions, it's an application-based question, because it's not something that is being learned. Though you can carve, because we have the different forms of business units. As I said initially, we have the sole proprietorship, partnership, and each form of business unit, we always look at the source of capital for each. If you try to carve all those sources of capital for each business unit, they can be able to fit in these aspects. And if you look at all these that we have mentioned here, they form as sources of capital in those different forms of business units that you might have learned. So that is how you can respond to such a question. Then next we go to question 7, that is mention 4 methods of gathering market information that will be used to grow a business. So this is also another application-based question, which is drifted from the business expansion. We looked at the business expansion and we looked at ways or strategies of expanding a business. So the same aspect can be used to do that. So the one is surveys and questionnaires. Collect feedback directly from customers through structured questions. And structured questions here, I mean, you confine the people who are using that, who you want to target, as yes or no questions. That's why unapatanga mostly hizi interview questions, or unapata mtu ako na ka pro forma or a form, it will be just a yes or no, yes or no. He doesn't want or she doesn't want a lot of explanations. So with that, you can be able to get a more direct information about what you are researching on. Then you have interviews, conducting one-on-one discussions with customers, suppliers, or industry experts. So this one also can be applied to an existing business. If you have an existing business, you can conduct a discussion with your customers. Yeah, mostly it's through the customer care service or the customer care platform. That is the place where the business engages most with the customers. So they can be able to get a lot of feedback from the clients through the customer care desk. Then you have the focus groups, gathering a small group of target customers to discuss their preferences and opinions. Then you have observation, monitoring customer behavior in stories, online platforms, or competitor business. And I also used online. You find that a certain product is being posted online, and we will have different comments about that product. So you can use those as a review to get information on how this product is perceived and also received in the market. Then you have social media analytics, use insights from social media platforms to track customer engagements and preferences. You can track, there's a way you can create a post to track on the level of that information or that post based on the needs. It's always displayed as a graph. So if it's displayed as a graph, then it means you can be able to gauge on the response of the people in the market. Then you have website analytics, examining website traffic, user behavior and conversion rates. Then customer feedback and reviews, analyzing comments, compliments and suggestions from customers. Then you have competitor analysis, studying competitor strategies, pricing and customer interactions. Industry reports and market research, reviewing published reports and data on the market trends. Then sell data analytics, examining past sale records to identify customer buying patterns and demand trends. So those are some of the ways or methods in which you can gather information in order to grow your business. Because here in this question, already a business has been established. We are now looking for ways of growing that business from one state to another. If it was a retail, we are looking at how to grow that business from a retail to a wholesale. If it's a shop or if it's a kiosk, we are now looking at how we can expand that kiosk to become a shop, or expand that shop to become a retail, or expand a wholesale to become a supermarket. So that is under the chain of distribution, just looking at how you can expand the business from one form to another form. So that is how you can respond to that question. Then question 8. So list 4 uses of a business plan that will be used by an entrepreneur intending to start a small business. So we always look at a business plan, and a business plan we always define it as maybe a vision, a set of a vision of how your business should be strategized in terms of capital, in terms of operating costs, running, the management. So all those entails the contents of a business plan. So we have to see the notes, the points. We have guides business operations. It provides a clear roadmap for managing and growing the business. So inside that business plan, there is the vision statement, there is the mission statement. That vision and the mission statement are the ones that will guide that business person on how the ways will be used, or the different ways that will be used to achieve that target. Then you have attract investors, help secure funding by demonstrating business potential and profitability, secure loans required by banks and financial institutions when applying for business loans. Most of these financial organizations, they will always require you to give a proposal of that business. That's just a brief story about the business that is written and documented, so that you can be able to secure a loan. Then assist in decision making, helps in making informed decision choices, in making informed business choices based on research and planning. For you to come up with a business plan, then it means you have to conduct a research. Inside that business plan, there is a place where you did a research, and there is a place where you can review the research. Then you have identified strengths and weaknesses, highlights areas that need improvement and competitive advantages. Now that will be, once the business has picked up, you're now running the business, you discover that there are some strengths and some also weaknesses during the running operations. Then provides us marketing strategy, outlines how to attract and retain customers, helps in risk management, identify potential risks and suggests ways to mitigate them. Then improves resource allocation, ensures efficient use of financial, human and material resources, tracks business progress, serves as a reference to measure growth and adjust strategies over time. So those also some types of the uses of a business plan. So we just carve from the contents. So if you look at these, most of them are coming from the contents of a business plan, but I've just tried to carve them as a use of a business plan. So next we'll go to another question. Kamau has a successful business at Mukuru Estate or Mukuru Market. State 3 important aspects of business ethics that guide them. Ethics, we always look at the set or the code of conduct of a person. Those are what is ethics. So if you have a business at Mukuru Market, you have to reason from the different types of business that can exist in a market. And if you reason from that perspective, you can be able to get maximum points on how to formulate them. Number 1 is honesty. Being truthful in all business dealings with customers, suppliers, and employees. If you are honest in any business within a market, and you've always seen that working, you'll be able to win the customers' hearts, and you'll be able to make a lot of sales. The honesty always comes with deliveries. If you can be able to deliver a product to the customer, then that honesty builds up. The next time he will want or she will want a product, she'll just call you or maybe order it online and be guaranteed that it will be delivered. So honesty is a very critical aspect in terms of business operations. integrity, maintaining high moral standards, and doing the right thing even when not monitored. That is also another aspect. You should not wait for the law to come and tell you that you do not have to deal with this type of business. You just have to do it yourself when you're not being monitored. Just abide by the laws that are provided. That is what we call integrity. Then you have fair pricing, charging reasonable prices without exploiting customers. So if you just give a very fair price, then it means most of your customers will prefer your products. Then you have quality products and services, ensuring goods and services meet expected standards. And in Kenya, we always have a regulating body that always governs on the quality standards of products. Then you have transparency, providing clear and accurate information about products, pricing, and business policies. Fair competition, competing ethically without engaging in fraud or defaming competitors. Then that is what when we call fair competition, we should always look at marketing. When you're marketing a product, you should not go to your customers or the clients and start talking negative things about a certain product, maybe about a certain product of a competitor that you are in the market. That is not a good way of competition. And that's why you've always seen, even in the marketing, I always use an example of detergents, because if you see a detergent being advertised on the television or somewhere, they will use that product, and the other detergent, they will not mention the name of that detergent. So that is what we call fair competition. They do not want to give the negative effects of their competitor, but they just put maybe a blank can that has no detergent, and you say, if you compare this with this, then ours is the best. Then respect for employees, treating workers fairly, paying them on time, and ensuring good working conditions is also another ethics. You should not be able to delay salaries for a very long period of time, because these employees will quit the jobs. They will not be able to be coming to work, and then the productivity will be reduced. Then environmental responsibility, managing waste properly, and using sustainable business practices. You have seen all those vendors on Akwangapale. If they are selling their products, they have a small dustbin whereby they collect all their rubbish and they dispose it there. So it means that it's just an ethic, something that is controlled inside them. It's just their character. Ensure that. Then accountability, taking responsibility for business actions and correcting mistakes when necessary. So those are some of the important aspects of a business that can guide you in any business. On to the next question. Identify 3 ways that can be adopted in a business or its internal control. So we have segregation of duties, assigning different tasks to employees to prevent fraud and errors, authorization and approval, ensuring transactions require proper approval from management, physical security measures, protecting assets through security cameras, locks, and restricted access, regular audits and reviews, conducting internal and external audits to prevent financial accurate record keeping, maintaining clear and up-to-date financial and business records, inventory management, tracking stock levels to prevent theft, loss, or wastage, employee training, educating staff on company policies, fraud prevention and best practices, use of technology, implementing accounting software and automated systems for better control, monitoring and reporting, setting up reporting systems to detect and address irregularities, then code of conduct, establishing ethical guidelines and policies for employee behavior. So those are some of the 3 ways. So it was just to pick any 3. So on to the next question is communication is based on standard principles. State 2 principles of communication. So this one is comes from the communication skills aspect. At the same time, they have just tried to relate between entrepreneurship and communication skills, the 2 units. So we have the communication process. Of course, we always learn of the communication process in the communication skills unit. So 1 is clarity. The message should be clear and concise, avoiding any ambiguity or confusion. So clarity, it means that information that is to be relayed. You're looking at communication can be in 2-way traffic. That is, It can be a communication from the management to the employees, also from the employees to the management. So you have to look at both sides. And if you look at both sides, then it means you'll be able to get the maximum points that you require. So clarity, the message should be clear. If you're communicating about something, don't avoid confusion and avoid exaggerating so many information about something. Then you have active listening. Both the sender and the receiver should listen attentively to ensure the message is fully understood and feedback is provided. If you're talking to the sender is talking, the receiver should listen. If the employer is talking to the employee should listen and respond to what the employer has asked him. So it's a two-way traffic, and it can apply in a variety of fields. Consistency. The message should be consistent and not contradictory, ensuring that the receiver is not confused by conflicting information. And I've always said that you've always seen those barriers. You have the different barriers of communication. You've learned them in communication skills. If someone talks about something, or if it's a report if it was an audio that was being said by someone, then you'll find that when that audio reaches the final receiver, in that maybe it goes through a lot of people, maybe 10 people. The 10th person will be interpreting information in a very different way. So it means that there will be some distortion of information. Then the consistency will not be there. Feedback. Effective communication requires feedback to verify the message was understood and intended. Then relevance. The message should be relevant to the audience, addressing their needs, concerns, or interests. Openness. There should be an open flow of communication, promoting honesty and transparency between the parties involved. Then empathy. The communicator should consider the feelings, perspectives, and emotions of the receiver to ensure the message is fully received or positively. Timeliness. The message should be communicated at the right time to be effective and impactful. Body language. Non-verbal cues such as facial expression, gestures, and posture should support the message being conveyed. So we're just looking at the various modes. You can use principles is like a guideline, the guidelines of communication. So you can use the characteristics, and you can borrow a hint from the communication process between the sender to the receiver. So you can look at what are some of the guidelines in our guide to communicate. So ya kwanza utaona clarity. Message ikiwa very clear inamaanisha the receiver can be able to receive it without any confusion. Listening. You talk one at a time. That is what we call active listening. If you talk, if the sender talks, the receiver should listen. If the receiver talks, the sender should listen. That is what we call active listening. You'll be able to understand each other. Then consistency. The message should not be confusing. You will not give this information the next time you're giving a different information. So you have to maintain the consistency. You have the feedback. There should always be a feedback. You've always seen, because if you give a feedback, then it means the message reached the destination and it was received, and that will make the communication process to be complete. Then openness, empathy, timeliness, and body language. So those are some of the guidelines I can say. Then we have another questions. The safety of employees in an organization is very important. You're operating a hardware business. List 3 personal protective equipment you can provide. These type of questions we always call them case study questions. They are specific based questions. You are confined to a hardware. So it means that whatever you are reasoning, you have to reason in relation to a hardware environment, because a hardware is also a form of a business. It's running. It's a type of business because it's able to give income. If people are coming to buy hardware equipments, they pay for that product. So it's a type of business, but you have to confine into at least the case study of the business. One is safety gloves, protect the hands from cuts, abrasions, chemicals, and other hazards. The hardware equipments, we have equipments that undergo very hard, or maybe you can scratch something, you can hold very harmful equipment that can cut you. So you have to use the safety gloves, you have safety goggles to safeguard eyes from dust, debris, chemicals, and flying particles. There might be some products that might require demonstrations. You cut on something, and maybe cutting it has some flying debris. Then steel-toed boots, which protects the feet from where you are stepping. Then hearing protection if you're working in a busy environment, or if you are selling equipment that require machinery, heavy machinery. Then you have respirators or dust masks. They will protect the lungs from inhaling harmful dust, fumes, or chemicals. High visible clothing, reflector clothing, which will make you very accessible to them, to be signed by the people on the site. So that's just the safety. It's just a hint. They have just borrowed that knowledge from the occupational health and safety practices, and also environmental literacy, because that's the place where we always learn about the personal protective equipment. Then next, we go to the final question, which is: the world is very dynamic, and several emerging issues and trends. Identify 3 emerging issues and trends a business has to adopt to remain competitive. So you're trying to look at what are some of the modern ways that can be employed into a business in order to make that business look competitive. One is digital transformation, adopting new technologies such as cloud computing, AI, and automation to improve efficiency and customer experience. So digital automation or transformation means you have seen people storing documents on clouds. Storing them there, it means you can access those documents in any part of the world and at any time. So it's a good backup system. Then you have e-commerce growth, expanding online presence and offering products or services through digital platforms to get a broader customer base. Then you have sustainability and environmental responsibility, remote work and flexible work adjustments, data analytics and big data, artificial intelligence and machine learning, cybersecurity, personalization, social media and influencer marketing, health and safety innovations, diversity and inclusion. So those are some of the trending or the emerging trends when it comes to business expansions, and it also makes the business to remain competitive in the market. So such a question is always called an application-based question, because under this topic we can be able to carve the answers from the emerging trends. There's a time we learned the emerging trends or the marketing strategies. We learned the examples of marketing strategies. So we learned that modern marketing strategies that are being employed by a business in running the business operations. So if you go look at those notes under the marketing strategies, you'll be able to find these that we put them. So it's an application-based question, but at least we tried to touch it under the marketing strategies of a business. We looked at the examples. We looked at the types, the 3 major types, and we also looked at the examples. So I guess that is the whole story of entrepreneurship for that year. That it was section B. I hope this video at least helps you to revise, and at least I've tried to give a glimpse of what is expected of you when it comes to answering the questions. So just as an humble plea is make sure that you give complete statements. You don't give hanging statements. Give self-explanatory statements such that you cannot be denied a mark. Otherwise, have some great time and all the best.